What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Olivia Parks, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about how to create SOPs for your company. Now, if you don't know what SOP is and you're thinking, what the fuck are you talking about, Olivia? I'm going to tell you what an SOP is. It's a standard operating procedure. And basically what that means is creating a step-by-step process out of something that already exists within your business. So for example, you might send out contracts to clients every day. You're basically going to create a step-by-step process for how you do that. You might onboard clients into your business every day. You're going to create a step-by-step process for how you do that. And some people think this is boring because it's like, oh, Olivia, I'm doing this already. Like, why do I need to create it into a system? Well, I'm going to tell you why, because SOPs, when done correctly, will set you free. If you fail to do SOPs, that's when you get trapped in your business. The businesses that actually scale take the time to do this, because when you create an SOP, all of a sudden now you've created an asset. You create an asset because you can give this to a current team member or a new team member so they can take off that task off your plate, right? So really the goal here is to create SOPs out of all the tasks that you're still doing as a CEO and the things that you want to delegate. Now you can hire team members to delegate those things. And guess what? They're going to be able to do them effectively because you've created a process. Now I'm going to create future videos on how to delegate properly. SOPs are just one part of that puzzle, but they're super important. So whether you already have a team right now or it's just you, it's really something that you want to take the time to get your SOPs in order because they're really going to help you scale your business. Now, I'm going to keep this video as short as possible to avoid unnecessary rambling, but let's get into it. I prepared a quick document that I want to show you guys. But first, gotta have a sip of the tea, you know? Even though I live in America, you can't get the Brits away from the tea, you know what I'm saying? And also, tastes just so much better when it's in a see-through cup. Like, if you agree with me, let me know. I don't know why, but drinking hot drinks in see-through cups is just like way more exciting. So here's my SOP on how to create SOPs. So like I said, what is an SOP? It's a step-by-step process for doing something. And this is like the foundation of creating systems, right? Like when I say to clients, like, let's create some systems, they're like, oh, I don't have any systems. Like I have no, this is something that people say. They say, I have no systems. You do have systems. You just aren't aware of them, right? Systems exist everywhere in your business. You simply haven't extracted them yet. Because every time you do anything like in your business, every time you take a sales call, every time you produce a piece of content, like that's a process that you're doing, right? So you simply need to extract the step-by-step system and now you can delegate it, right? So why do we make SOPs? We make them so we can delegate. We make them so we can build the systems and get out of the day-to-day, okay? Now, before we go into like actually how to make them, I'm going to show you an example of one that I've made for a client before, so you can kind of have an idea of what we're working towards here. So I had like the client and the title here. You want to have a screen recording of you actually doing the SOP. So that's what this is. Highly recommend you download Loom if you don't have it. And then these are the fields that I'm going to go through in a second. But this is why I love doing it in Notion, because I don't have to like have everything manual at the top, like created by and last edited. These all get automatically updated, right? And it's so easy to tag people, keep track of things and filter things when I create my SOPs in Notion. So it's super simple. We've got the going through the SOP here, and then we've got a step-by-step process. So you simply take payment through Stripe. You know, I don't need to go through this whole SOP with you guys because you're not going to be doing this SOP. But the point is to show you that it's pretty short. It's to the point. There's only 8 steps. And where there's like additional steps that would require them to watch another video, then I've linked that SOP. Right? Like you don't need to go through because like some SOPs is going to be like a macro SOP with like smaller ones inside of it. And so you're going to like waste a lot of time if you redo SOPs already exist in this, right? Because like sending contracts in a template in DocuSign, that's something that people are going to need to do on a daily basis anyway. So I have an SOP for that, but it's also part of this SOP, which is why I link it here. Okay. And then it's the same for like adding a client to a Slack channel. Like someone might need to do that for other reasons than this. So I just added that Loom here. but like some things you're just gonna have a quick loom, some you're gonna have a full SOP, right? And so just making sure that all the resources required to carry out the task are in here. And then I just want to show you that I store my SOPs in something like this. So this is what I have for fulfillment. I like to have one for each department, and then I'll have the name of the SOP, I'll have the video, and then date created by, last edited. These all like automatically update and stuff, and then I'll have the department. So this just makes it super easy for me to store them, and so I highly recommend you do something like this, so you're not like chasing after your SOPs, because that's how it makes things disorganized. And like it's kind of like a lazy way for me to do it like this, because once I just decide, okay, all the SOPs are going to live in here, it makes it super simple and I don't have to think about it anymore. So that's why I recommend you do that. But before making an SOP, you want to decide what you want to document. So we're going to start with a simple repetitive task that you do often, that eventually you want to delegate. So it's going to be one of those like lower level admin tasks. Maybe it's like responding to customers if, you know, for like a low ticket product you have and you want to have like a client success person take that over, things like that, right? And then you're going to decide where to store your SOPs. You can do them in a Google Doc. So I've written out this like kind of the structure you want to start your SOPs with. So you'd have that in the top of the Google Doc. You can do it in ClickUp, which will let you do something similar to what I've done in Notion. You can do it in Notion. But like I said, if you don't, it's going to get chaotic as fuck. There will be a little bit of swearing on this channel, so just bear with. My mom will not be happy, but we move. But make sure you decide where you're going to store them and just commit to that, because I see so many people go around with a million different softwares, but the reason that people get so like overwhelmed by softwares is because they just don't pick one and commit to it. And I'm going to make future videos on like how to choose the best softwares for you, because there are some that are not going to be that suitable for your business. So we'll go through that. But what's most important, once you pick it, commit to it. So you want to start all SOPs with this structure at the top. So what department is this from? Is it sales, marketing, operations, fulfillment, finance? Like, what is it? What's the responsibility? So you can do it like by department. So what's the responsibility of this department? But what's the responsibility of this SOP, right? So for that onboarding SOP I did, it's really to make, you know, give clients a great onboarding experience and get them up to speed with everything that they need to know to have success in your program or have success working with you on your service, right? Then you wanted to put the department head, who was it created by, date created, who's actually going to be doing the SOP, because the idea is you're going to pass this off to someone else, right? Who was it reviewed by and when was it last reviewed? And these fields will make sense as we go further down, but basically, you know, a SOP is useless if it's not functional. And so people need to like review and test these and make sure that they work. Now, if you don't have any team members yet, or if you do have team members, but you still have to create SOPs, you want to follow this process. So ask yourself, what is the result you want to achieve from your action? Send a contract, onboard a client, close a client, like conduct a sales call. Like, what is it that you're trying to do with this action? Now you want to record yourself doing it and talk through the steps as you do it. So you want to use Loom for that. And then share the mindset of why you do what you do. And this is especially important in client-facing roles. So say if you were, you know, like I said, responding to clients, you're responding to client messages in Slack, it's going to be like, you need to think through the mindset of why you're replying to them. It's not just going to be a word for word blanket statement. You need to teach whoever is taking over this process how to think for themselves and how to know what to say, right? So you want to share the mindset of why you do what you do. And videos really should be no more than 10 minutes long, really 2 to 5 minutes ideally. Otherwise, you're going to need to break it up into smaller SOPs, because it's going to become a pain for future team members to watch the video and like skip to the part they needed to skip to if your videos are really long. Then you want to write out the key steps required to take that action, no more than 9 steps. And then, so this is important, if under different scenarios you take a different action, for example, like responding to client messages, you want to write out like the most common questions you get and the answers you provide. so you can like give this as a FAQs doc to your team, right? There's going to be like a lot of scenario-based things in your business. So that's when you want to teach people the mindset of how to respond in these different scenarios, right? And then you're going to go ahead and upload the SOPs into your storage place. So it's pretty simple. And then when you have a team member you want to pass it off to, you're going to use the rest of this process, which is going to involve like giving them the SOP and making sure it's working. And just a quick note, if you have something larger that you want to delegate, like you're bringing on a sales rep and you want them to take over sales calls, you're not really going to create an SOP on how to do a sales call. Like you kind of are. You're going to create a framework for a sales call and you're going to give them call recordings to brush up, and then you'll follow like a standard delegation process that I'll go into on a different video. But just bear that in mind when it's something super large. Like you're going to give them a framework and you're going to give them like actual training on how to do the thing and get the result. Now, once you have team members, you want them to start making SOPs of what they're doing, because like the first people you hire on your team, like you want to get some high level people on there, and then eventually they're going to hire people under them, right, to take over the tasks that they were originally doing, and they can move on to higher level things. So you want to identify who are the knowledgeable team members in each department that you can trust to create the SOPs. It needs to be someone who has a high standard of executing the tasks and operations, like who's getting shit done. You want them to be doing this. And now as you grow, you should only be doing the tasks that you do as good as or better than your team. Eventually, only do what you're better at. It's a waste of your time to do things that people on your team are more skilled to be doing, okay? The team will take care of everything else, and they'll be empowered to create these SOPs so they can build a team under them, like I was saying. Now, for the team, you want them to identify the one result that they want to achieve with the system, similar to what you did. And then you want to see who is currently doing this SOP, like who's currently executing this task, and who is going to be executing on this task. Now similar process to before, have the current employee doing the task, record their screen as they do it, and talk out loud. Use Loom. Again, you want to do your 5 to 9 item checklist, and then give team members a due date for when this SOP needs to be done. And then have the person who is going to be taking on the SOP write it out step by step. So you're going to have the person you're delegating it to watch the video and write it out step by step. And then you're going to use that as part of the documentation as well. And it also helps you understand that the video was recorded correctly and the person taking on the task actually knows what the hell is going on. Okay? And again, you want to be teaching them how to think in the SOP. Keep it simple. This system is really an outline, and we want our team to use their brains to make it work. So like, there's not going to be too many nuances. Like I said, you want to be teaching them the mindset of why you do what they do so they can do that. Like you don't want a bunch of robots on your team. You want people that can actually think for themselves. And now you want to get feedback. Have whoever's going to be taking over the SOP do the SOP, and then have them ask them to give their feedback. Did it make sense? Did they understand what they were doing? Were there steps missing? Was the task actually completed properly? If it was, then it's successful. Now we know that this can be used, right? And here's some best practices. You want to focus on documenting 1 to 2 systems a month instead of trying to do them all at once, especially when you're the CEO. You want to start with what you want to delegate ASAP. So it's going to be like those lower level admin tasks, like I was saying, and then move on to the next things. The bigger your company is, the longer it takes for you to pivot and create change. So ideally, you want to set the standard of doing things this way from the beginning with your employees. But if not, you simply need to enroll them in the idea of why this benefits them. It benefits them because now they can grow a team, right? Your team members can hire people underneath them. They can stop doing the tasks that they didn't want to do. It's going to save time. It's going to make the business more efficient. There's a lot of reasons of why your team members would want to do these, right? And yeah, they'll do them anyway if you don't tell them that, because you're going to pay them. But if you tell them why, they're going to put a lot more effort into it, and they're going to actively seek out to do it because they can see why it benefits them. And like I've said before, you want people to think and operate for themselves. Teach them how to think. Like if X happens, you need to think about it like Y. And like I said, no mindless robots. We don't want people following a word for word script by systemizing too much. Then an employee has someone to report back to who is the SOP person, and they can ask if it's not making sense or it needs editing, right? So that's why it's important to say like who it was created by and like when it was created by, because as time goes on, these are going to need to be updated because they're going to become out of date. And you want to know who it was created by, because if someone doesn't understand what's going on, they need to know who they can speak to so they can actually get clarity. Okay. And yeah, we want the team to be coming with solutions and ideas, not just problems, right? Which is why it's great to teach them this kind of thing, because it teaches them how to be solutions oriented. Things to be aware of: easy to create SOPs that are great in theory, but you don't actually know until someone on the team has done it, right? So if it seems really easy for you to create an SOP, like, you know, uploading a document to DocuSign, it might sound like super simple and easy, but you don't know that it's actually working until someone on the team does it for you. It needs to be a checklist, not a thesis. We're not writing dissertations here, okay? Not in university anymore. Help the team understand it takes discipline to do them, right? They need to be tested and make sure there's limited errors before rolling out to the rest of the team, or they're going to be magnified, right? Small inefficiencies in your business right now that you seem to overlook and think are fine get magnified and amplified when your business grows. So bear that in mind. And you want to kind of like see trigger and pause moments where people can follow the process. Make them short and efficient, like I was saying, ideally 2 to 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. Keep the checklist short. SOP should supplement existing info that is out there. So like onboarding training and other training you have for your employees. And then the SOP is like a hypothesis when you first make it. It needs to be tested and validated so it truly works. So that's it for this video, guys. I'm going to link this in the description so you can have this template to refer back to. Let me know if you have any questions on this, and don't forget to subscribe for the next video coming soon.